So when a developer user uses this component, the way they're going to do this is by using a JSX element here. So we're going to create a React element with our counter component, and that's how the developer is going to use it. And then ultimately, at some point, the developer also is going to be calling React DOM.render to get that element onto the page. And they're going to pass not only the element that ultimately renders our element, but they're also going to pass as a second argument a div, which should be inside the document body so that the user can actually interact with this. So before we even get to rendering our stuff, we need to create a div. So we're going to say div equals document create element div, and that's going to be the root. And then we'll say document.body append div. So now if we console.log the document.body.inner HTML, we should see our div. There it is. Ta-da! Sweet. So the next thing that we want to do is actually render this counter to this div. So we're going to say React DOM.render, and we want to render the counter. And then we're going to render that counter to this div that we've created and insert it into the body. So if we save this, now we'll see the div that we created. So that's our container div. And then if we look at the implementation of the counter, it also renders a div. So that's the one right here. That's the first child that our component renders, the first child of our containing div. And then here it renders yet another div for that current count. And then a button for the increment and the decrement right here. Sweet. So that's the first part of just getting things onto the page for our test. We're going to create an element. We're going to put that element into the document, and then we're going to render a React element for our component to that div. And of course, we could add any props here that we wanted to if there were some initial count, if we wanted to test that, whatever it is that we need to for our UI that we're trying to test.